Hello. We thank you for tuning in to SABIFF 2022 with our theme, Animation in Black. We hope you're enjoying the festival and the great offerings that we have out there, both virtually and here in San Antonio. So we are moving to present to you just education with a educational animation. Um, we're calling it animation with heart and soul, and we were able to speak with different YouTube sensations that are out there, and so we have another one that we'd like to present, and my granddaughters love Gracie's Corner, and so I'd like to bring one of the founders of Gracie's Corner, onto. Here we go, onto the stream. Hey, how are you?
Hey, doing pretty good. How are you?
Good. This is Javoris or Jay Hollingsworth. His wife, also Dr. Arelene Gordon-Hollingsworth, couldn't be with us today, but he's gonna tote the load here and talk to us about the program and the series. And I just want to first get started. I'm gonna first change my background because I don't like this background.
Okay.
But I wanted to get started first with just talking about how Gracie's Corner, the concept, came to you, and what made you think that you could even start something that was totally out of your realm. Let's start there.
Yeah, so the way that the concept came to me was during the pandemic when everything was getting crazy and chaotic. So I was a chemistry professor at the time, and what happened was because of the whole lockdown situation, I had to teach from home, and then my kids also had to take classes or do school from home. So everybody's at home, whether they like it or not, mixing and mingling, and it really gave me an opportunity to learn more about my kids as well as the content that they were watching. And from that, I saw like, man, there's a lot of or a little of representation as far as like children of color, especially in the educational space. So this was an opportunity to where we could be proactive and create our own content. So I teamed up with my daughter where I produce the music and write the script, and she actually does all the singing. And it's, starting out, I think it was just probably like my mom and a few relatives that were watching the content. But then we eventually gained a lot of traction, especially on like TikTok and all these other platforms. And since then, it's just been doing millions of views per month. It's like just phenomenal.
Amazing. Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, so the saying having children changes your life is true, because if you didn't have a child at the time, you would have never,
Yep.
and also just being at home during the pandemic, would you have even paid attention to what's out there in terms of what she was watching? That
No.
pandemic kind of changed things for you.
Yeah, it was almost like
Yeah.
a blessing in disguise because I saw it as an opportunity for me to actually kind of slow down and take in things versus constantly being on this, fast pace. So it gave me an opportunity to kind of pump my brakes and actually watch what my kids were watching and kind of go from there. But just to give you a little background too, how we even got to this point, because I was a chemistry professor at the time, but I grew up in a church where I would learn to play the piano and drums, and I was also a band geek in high school. So that's kind of like where the whole music piece came from. But to be able to get back to that, especially with my daughter as my partner in crime with the whole production, it's been phenomenal.
Hmm. And so you were a chemistry professor. So
Mhm.
what did your lives consist of pre-pandemic in terms of work, interests, goals, aspirations? Because there was nothing in this direct producing animated kids series. So what
Yeah.
were your goals pre-pandemic that you were looking at?
My 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 goal really was to climb that academic ladder. So I started teaching at FAMU in Tallahassee, Florida, and then
Mm-hmm.
after leaving there, I transitioned over to Houston, where I was teaching at the University of St. Thomas. And my wife, she's still a professor. She teaches at Texas Southern University, so she teaches psychology there.
Hmm.
So it's kind of cool to see how we kind of came from this higher education space, but like even in some of the songs, like there's some mental health related type concepts. Like for instance, when we were talking about the ABC song, like
Mhm.
yeah, we teach kids the ABCs at the beginning, but then it transitions to these words of affirmation, these positive words of affirmation. Like for instance, A, I'm amazing. B, I'm
Mm.
bold and beautiful. C, I'm courageous. So that was my wife's idea because she knew that in comparison to a lot of their counterparts, children of color tend to receive less positive words of affirmation, which has a underlying effect on how they view themselves and how they even develop from there. So we wanted to build this type of stuff into the songs where, yeah, it's catchy and whatnot, but at the same time, it's planting a positive seed that we hope really help.
Affirming. It's affirming. Yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm. So the name Gracie's Corner. How
Yeah.
did you all come up with that name? And I mean, I know, but I want you to tell the audience. And the
Mhm.
concept to create a diverse range of musical genres in the series, because you all do a wide range of just music, types of music.
Yeah. So the name, of course, it stems from my oldest daughter. So I have three kids, with Gracie being the oldest. She all right, so she always wanted a YouTube channel, but she wanted one of
Really?
those YouTube channels where, yeah, she wanted one of those channels where she's, you know, in front of the camera all day and kind of like what they call it, like a vlog where she's like documenting her,
Uh-huh.
daily life. But I feel like with a lot of those channels, those kids make a huge sacrifice where they give up a lot of their privacy. They don't really they they're always on. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
what we did
Mm-hmm.
was we created Grace's Corners to where she she's involved in this YouTube channel in a major way, but at the same time, like once we are done with our production, she's just running around like a regular kid. Like she's just
Mm-hmm.
has her own life, um, but yeah, and then with the music and whatnot too, like you said, we really wanted to bring in Black culture. I think I've seen a lot of other things out there that try to touch on it, but they kind of sometimes they kind of miss the mark. But we really wanted to make sure that our stuff was culturally relevant, and we wanted to make sure that children of color were at the forefront. There's so much out there where they try to include, you know, Black and brown children, but it's
Yeah.
almost like an afterthought. Like, oh yeah, let's not forget to
Let's
leave
throw
them
one
out.
in here, one in there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very like I don't know. So, but we really were very intentional about making sure that our kids are at the forefront. We wanted to make sure that that they realize that they're special and just as important as any other child that's out there. So we really wanted to do this in a way where we're empowering them, we're educating them, and just making them understand how special they are.
Yeah. That, and you do that. You do that very well. One of the things I'm thinking about with the music, because you do Caribbean, you
Mhm.
do soul, I mean, you just do jazz, you do a wide range. I even saw some Mardi Gras type of stuff in there from Louisiana with the red,
Yeah,
gold, and the. So it's really cool because it gives kids, it just gives them a broader perspective on music as well and making it fun. I mean, like I said, my grandkids learn days of the week from
mhm,
Gracie's,
yeah,
days of the week. I'm like, what are y'all saying? Days of the week. It's like, okay. So it's educational, it's fun, it's entertaining. So you capture all of that. So I just think it's awesome. So
yeah.
I just want to talk about like how things how it comes together, how you balance everything, because you and your wife are both full-time working. You have younger kids. It's just parents a lot of times don't stop and switch gears into something that's possibly that's possible to that can be life changing. So how do you all do it?
You know what?
Or you haven't even thought about it, have you?
Yeah, no, it's. I feel like it was quite it's quite it's been quite a remarkable thing to try to even navigate this and keep that balance. And how you know I grew up in church and I still am a firm believer, and I feel like that's been a huge piece as far as like just kind of keeping me grounded and just focused. But also having a strong support system like with my wife. Because starting out with this channel, man, like I was pumping money into like this whole production and whatnot. Like you have to get the music created, you have to have the animation created, like all this stuff costs. And for any new YouTube channel, like you're pretty much gonna watch money go out, just out. So I was very fortunate to have a patient wife that kind of, as she's watching this money go out, she just kind of kept her mouth, she did.
She believed in it. She believed in the product, really.
Exactly. Because at any point she could have just pulled the plug and be like, hey, this is getting out of hand. But she just, believed in it and supported it. And eventually it got to the point where it was just taking off, and everything kind of made sense then. But it's been interesting because I want to always try to maintain that family work-life balance. And what ended up happening is, although I was a chemistry professor, I got to the point where I had to decide, like, okay, am I gonna put more of my effort into this Gracie's Corner thing, or try to somehow keep a hand in, the professor work? And I ultimately ended up deciding to resign from my position as a university professor and do this full time. And the reason for that is because, in the classroom, you can see the impact that you're having. Like a student can come in, not know a thing about this subject matter, and then by the time the semester ends, they're like almost like an expert. So it's really cool to have a hand in that development, especially if they're going to go on and become a physician or become a lawyer or any other thing outside of that. But at the same time, to go on social media and see these real life moments where families are coming together and enjoying our content, and seeing little Black girls and children who are like embracing the natural look of their hair, because the I Love My Hair song that kind of reaffirmed that, hey, my hair got it going on the way it is. I don't have to do all these other things that society say I need to do.
Hey, hey, living my life so free. Hey, hey, natural hair, lovely. Hey, hey, it doesn't matter if it's up or it's down. Hey, hey, proud of my hair 'cause it is my crown. My hair, I love my hair. I love my hair.
So the impact of that was so much more, I know it was just clear to me. So it was like, okay.
Rewarding.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, this is something I definitely need to continue doing and put, my effort into. So now I've been doing this full time, and it's been awesome to see the traction. And then also even watch the development of my daughter too, because when she first started, she was 7 years old. So now she just recently celebrated a 10th birthday.
Wow.
So I don't know, she's been growing in confidence as well. Because and there were points where she was being bullied at school and things like that. And that was one of the reasons why we even made like the I Love My Hair song. It was a message to her, but it was something that now we've been able to share with the broader community. But since then though, yeah, she's been growing and developing, that self-confidence and just blossoming. It's awesome to see, her go from this, little shy thing to like now she's really confident and really
yeah, I saw an interview on that you all did for some Houston channel. She's so adorable. I could see the confidence. I could see it. She definitely carries that. I just want to get an idea, because you said animation is expensive. You said it takes a lot of time. What is involved? And you all have to do a lot of research, I'm sure, to even get to the point. So what were your steps if parents are watching? Because we talked to Joel's TV as well, and another family that put together something because they didn't see the representation or feel the music. And so what is involved with even beginning to start this process? You have to have a certain amount of talent, which you do in terms of the music and writing. What did you have to do to pull the animation in, to get the characters designed and developed the way you want and looking? Can you kind of walk us through some of that process early on?
Yeah, and you kind of hit the major points. One, the vision, right? Having that vision, because when you're creating stuff, you're creating from nothing, right? There's nothing in front of you. Like you just something that you envision and then you want to bring it to life. So one, just first having that vision, right? I knew from the beginning, like, okay, I want something that, yes, it's inclusive, but I really want to make sure that children of color at the forefront. So that was a big part of kind of painting the picture, right?
Mhm.
But then writing, right? You know, I earned my PhD and all that stuff and had to do a ton of writing then, but I didn't know how all that stuff would come back. There's a lot of writing involved with with this type of stuff. I know people only see like the animation, which is this visual side of things, but it takes a storyline, it takes a script, it takes, even with the songs, it takes, you know, I have to write that stuff out. So there's a ton of writing. So people who have that literary skill, like, you know, with writing and stuff, it's valuable. It's very valuable. And I would encourage anyone to hone in on that even more and continue to develop. But yeah, writing the script. And then once we kind of got to that point, I had a freelancer that I became close friends with, and I was able to kind of take the ideas and the scripts and the storylines and things like that, and then pass that on to where they brought it to, you know, to what you see. And then there's always times too where I may get something back and I'm like, let's let's tweak this. I don't quite like this visual, this, you know, how this is being portrayed. And then Gracie, she plays a big role in a lot of this too. Like even while we're writing the songs and whatnot, you know, sometimes she'll stop me, Dad. I think we need to change this line to say this. And
great.
yeah, and it's so funny because sometimes she'll make these suggestions and it actually turns out to be better than what I what I initially had. So it's awesome to see her nurturing that creative side too. And I would
Actually
love to see her.
producing. She's probably adding to the producing, being an early producer. So that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's still a young kid, and I feel like, you know, she's on the path to doing something really special if she continues on that track. And I mean, ultimately, we want her to be happy, and you know, she always tells us she wants to become like a singer, right? So, like a Sierra or Beyonce or
Hey.
yeah. But I mean, we're hoping that this continue to be like a platform for her, like when she want to make that next step.
Mm-hmm.
She can do that. You know, for a lot of people, I think it's tough in this whole entertainment industry just because it's so competitive. There's a lot of people who want to be, you know, a Beyonce or a Sierra, but there's only so few, right? But I think, you know, with the right network and just having the right skill set too, like for instance, that whole creative side, having those things, I think really do make you a better candidate for something like that.
Right. I mean, and one of the things, I mean, when you look at animation, there's not many of us in animation behind the scenes creating. And then you gotta go this whole diversity inclusion thing where we have to be included. But what's so impressive about you, your family, your daughter, is that you saw something out there that wasn't working for you and you created your own. And so that to me, that's a message that I really want to get across to people watching this festival is if you don't see it, create it. I mean, this festival created, you create, you know, and from there it'll grow. It will grow.
Yeah. Especially if you
stay connected to it.
Exactly. Especially like in our case, it was just like this glaring hole for me. Like, man, you know, there's not much of this, and there's stuff out there, and I feel like there still is a need for more. You know, I always tell people like, hey, you know, you have this concept or whatever, like explore it. Will it you know take off? It may not, but the thing is just kind of overcoming that fear of what if it doesn't, and just do it, just create. And everything's not going to be a hit. I mean, even with what we do, you kind of touched on it earlier, like the music, the genres, it ranges from Afro beats to hip hop to second line to go-go music. Like, and it's like, you know, some people may like one aspect, and then there's others who may not like the other, but it's just a matter of just being consistent, like consistently creating and just putting stuff out there. Because sometimes you and also try to stay away from a lot of the comments. And at least that's what I tend to do. My wife, she's the one who like tends to read all the social media and whatnot, but I personally choose to not get on that stuff just because I know some people can be hypercritical and have, whatnot. And there's nothing wrong with constructive criticism, but if you feel like it could potentially affect how you think your whole creative process works, yeah, I would definitely veer away from it, just because there's a lot of toxic aspects out there. So that's kind of like my words of encouragement for anyone who's in a creative space. Just make sure that you're exploring your ideas and you're getting them out there, but try not to let people throw you off. Like if you got something and you really believe in it, continue to push and create in that space.
One of the things we talk about music, I loved when you all redid Baby Shark, putting Black Grandma, Black Grandpa, Back Baby. I mean, how did you get around that in terms of copyright and music, all that? Mm-hmm. I think yours surpassed the other one because it's reflecting me and my images, our people. But how did you get past creating that and that song, redoing that? I was just curious when I saw it. I was like, how did you do that?
Yeah, so for stuff like that, like for instance with Baby Shark, which even with that, there's still some controversy about who's the true original creator, because there's
really?
Yeah, there's like there's the Pink Phone people who really took it to the next level and became like this worldwide sensation. But there's some other guy, I can't think of the guy's name. He supposedly they've been going back and forth, like this huge clash. But what I did was when I was writing the song and actually distributing it, what you have to do, at least what I did, was if you're taking something that's a derivative of somebody else's work, you have to make sure that they are credited for that. So when they're when royalties and all that stuff are being distributed, whoever was that original creator, they're going to get they're getting their compensation basically for that. Yeah, so basically that's so we have it set up to where Pink Phone and I don't even know if they should solely get it, but we just want to make sure that we went about it the right way to where if it gets to a point where there's any question, like, well, we've been making sure that the money has been going to those guys.
Okay. Yeah, I love your version much better.
Yeah.
We got play a little clip of that, and kids go crazy. They go crazy over these songs. Just seeing them is just hilarious. So what are some of the content and the journey that Gracie takes viewers on? Just off the top of your head, you can just speak to some of the things that she speaks on.
Yeah, so it ranges from fundamental topics like ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, colors, even to positive affirmations like the hair. We have more stuff coming out where she's teaching like breathing techniques, and that was the idea that my wife she gave me the insight on, okay, this is the proper way to breathe if you're feeling anxious or if you're feeling angry or you're feeling, because there's nothing wrong with having these different feelings, but it's like, how do you cope with it? How do you actually deal with it? So we have
I just want to say that is awesome, because I mean, one of the things my daughter does is when her daughter gets all mad or whatever, okay, stop, breathe. She's starting to do that, and I'm like, that's different.
Yeah,
but it works. It calms her down.
It actually works, and that's what in the song we actually show, or we talk about how to breathe, like take these deep breath in, and then count to 4 and then exhale, and then like just how that has a calming effect, right? So and then those type of topics, even to some topics that people can consider kind of controversial, like we celebrate Juneteenth talking about the importance of that, as well as MLK and his his impact, and like, so the topics, it really ranges, but it's really cool to see how we can pull in all these different things, and we're presented in a way where it's fun and catchy, but at the same time, the information that's being dropped on them, like, and some people don't even realize they're learning, but it's kind of like putting the medicine in the candy almost. I don't know, but it's kind of cool to see that.
Wow. So I think it's just so impressive because I look at the stats, and I want you to talk about the stats, because if you think about it, it's been 2 years. It's just been 2 years since y'all have been up. And you said it started with grandma watching and your friends. And I mean, can you even fathom how this happened to you? It's not like you all are on television. It's not like you all have major ads out or billboards. So it's like a wildfire, word of mouth. I mean, how can you account for what's happened for y'all in terms of becoming a sensation, an overnight sensation?
Yeah, you actually nailed it. Like, I think because of social media and the overall reach there, where people showing themselves, jamming to the music, or showing their children, or showing their grandparents, enjoying the content. So people become curious, like, man, what is this? Let me go check it out. And what we're doing is so different, and so needed. And I think that's where the major buy-in comes in, because like the same way I noticed that lack of representation, other people notice it as well. And so they see this stuff and they're like, man, something that really reflects me or my culture. And, the buy-in just becomes more. But it's been crazy to see the numbers, because like you said, we haven't spent money on ads, marketing, none of that stuff. This has just been pure word of mouth, where people are just sharing it amongst each other, and we're seeing millions of views per month. In fact, I think by next month, we should have
so
800.
800. Okay, so 861,000 subscribers. That was last week. So that's probably a million by now. Over 3 million views and substantial monthly earnings. So like I said, had you imagined? Had you even imagined?
I had no idea it was gonna take off to that point where it's like a machine now. And there's people who are interested in it, as far as like trying to take it even off of the YouTube platform or beyond the YouTube platform. But even with those conversations, though, we're trying to be very careful, because we feel like with what we have now, we have that freedom, we have that flexibility to make sure that we completely control the narrative, and kind of keep it to where it's almost like this safe space where that if my child watches this, they're likely going to learn something. They're going to feel positive about themselves, but not necessarily worrying about other things. But yeah, there's opportunities that are currently on the table where we could potentially even go beyond the YouTube's platform, and I'm excited about it. I'm just kind of eager to see how it all plays out, though.
Yeah, I mean, keeping your power in the project is important. That's key. You don't want to sell it too early on, and you're just like, oh damn, I didn't want her to do that or go that route, or So what can we? So what is a typical length time of? Tell me the age range for Gracie's Corner, and what is it the series? Is it a 10-minute, 5 minutes, 15 minutes? And how, I'm asking 3 questions at once, and how long it takes to produce that length of time? Like, is it a month before each month you're doing one episode, or how does that work?
Okay, so
I know it's 3 questions. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. So each video right now, like each time we put out one single, it's probably like around 3 minutes long. But we of course make compilations of the smaller ones too, which can span as long as almost 2 hours. But each video that is usually released is probably about 3 to 4 minutes long, and as far as like the age groups that we target, when we first started, we were really just trying to key in on like really young kids, like maybe 2 or so, around that age range. But some of the requests that we come in, like for instance, last week or so, we put out a song about counting by twos. That is a concept that, you know, a little older kid will probably find more useful, but still, you know, you can expose younger kids to it as well. But so it covers between, you know, infant to 2 to almost 8. Just that
Really?
range. Yeah, there's some concepts that probably could be viewed by them, but the majority is younger, definitely younger. And then as far as like the timeline, it usually take us between probably 10 to 15 days for a full production. So that's the time that it takes to create the music, write the lyrics, actually record it with Gracie, and then write the script, send the script for production as far as like the animation, get the animation back, then you know, make whatever edits, if there are edits that's required, and then post to YouTube. So yeah, around 15 days for that. So, but I try to plan things in advance just because each month there may be some event. Like for instance, we got Thanksgiving and Christmas and Halloween, all these different seasons that are, you know, approaching. So in preparation for those coming, you know, you want to map out in advance what topics you're going to tackle, because you have to produce this stuff. So once that date comes, you're just ready to release, versus, oh, I need to work on producing such and such before this date comes. So it's just kind of working under comfortable conditions to where you're not stressed out, and you kind of have this timeline or this plan of attack.
Yeah, production schedule. You got a production schedule, basically.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yep. So coming up with a production schedule where it makes sense, because all that's important, especially if you're on the YouTube space too, because with YouTube, it's all about, you know, what's being searched for, right? There's certain topics that someone may search for more frequently than some other topic. So you want to make sure that the stuff that you're pushing out is the timing of it is crucial. So that's having a production plan in place is huge.
So how many animators are working on it? And are they US based or international based, or how does that work in terms of finding the right animator? Because there's so many kids coming out of school trying to get into the industry in Hollywood and do whatever, and they can create their own stuff if they're animators, or jump on board with you know, young developing companies like your own to assist. But how do y'all go about the animation part of it?
So our animator is based here, but it's just one. So the plan is, of course, to expand on our team to where there's at least 4 to 5 animators and artists on board, because of the fact that it is just one. That's a major limiting factor on one, how fast things can be produced, and limitations on your output can actually have an impact on your YouTube performance. Because with YouTube, this whole algorithm that it has, the more you feed it and the more frequently you feed it, is going to pump your stuff out, you know, more. But if you are not posting that much, like it's not gonna be too beneficial. So we're trying to get it in a place where we can push out at least 2 videos per week, so about 8 videos per month. Right now, I think we produce about 3 to 4 per month. So increasing our output.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed. Well, I mean, I'm just amazed. One animator and you, you know, sole musician, and your daughter is sole voiceover. I mean, what you all are doing, it would take a whole team. I mean, you're a small team, but it would take a big team to do that. You look at what's on PBS or you know, Cartoon Network, and now they got whole teams in different parts of the world working on their animation. So that's amazing.
They have a tremendous team, I think, too, because, you know, And then there's like pros and cons to having a small team, but one of the cons, of course, is slower output. But one of the pros to it though is it's much easier to get from point A to point B, just because with fewer people, there's less back and forth that's necessary to like get to the point. So, because like if you think about it, if you got a team of 15 or 20, you know, everyone may have different viewpoints, and everyone may want to do something a different way. So it takes actually time to kind of get the ball rolling, just because there's so much preliminary stuff. Whereas with us, we're very nimble, because I'm pretty much controlling the narrative on this, and then I kind of just send it to our single animator, and then we kind of go from there. But we're on the path to growing or expanding our team. So, but I think it's I'm seeing there are going to be more benefits to expanding the team, just because we'll be able to push out more stuff, and then we can also even enhance the quality as well. So I'm excited about it and looking forward to it.
Yeah, I heard that you're all going to be doing some longer term. Are you doing longer content now coming up?
Well,
talk about the longer content and also the products that we can expect from Gracie's Corner as well.
Yeah, so with the we're currently in discussion with some different production companies who are interested in a long form version of Gracie's Corner, where you get to find out about Gracie, like what does she like, what does she dislike, does she have some skill sets or anything like that, like who's grandma, who's grandpa, what are those people like, and just kind of like building out this full narrative where you can kind of see these characters, and then they can go on adventures. And you know, by it being an animated series, like it's almost limitless what you can do as far as like the journeys that we can have her take and different things like that. So we kind of want to explore that, and then we can of course pull in a lot of the music that people have really enjoyed, and then as far as like products and things too, we have some of the merch that is available like on our website, GRACIE'SCornerTV.com. But there's also other discussions that we're having where our goal ultimately is to get our stuff into retail stores. But again, those are talks and things that we're having at the moment. But I'm hoping that we can finalize some stuff soon to where we can, you know, get the Gracie's Corner dolls and the Gracie's Corner I don't know, bedding and party supplies and stuff. Yeah,
sheets and pillows and hats and all that stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there now. Of course, and probably 99% of it isn't approved. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, it's with you know, building a brand, you know, if something's in high demand or catchy, sometimes people will try to, you know, cling on. But so one of the things too, even with this animation process, make sure that, and this is something I would say to anyone else, make sure that you're protecting your IP, or when I say IP, your intellectual property. That stuff is extremely valuable. But yeah, we that's something else that we have to tackle too. But yeah,
that comes with the territory. That definitely comes with the territory. So you were telling me earlier that about birthday parties and Gracie, and about that product that is also you're developing for birthday parties and appearances, that people can actually touch Gracie and talk to Gracie and all of that. Tell us about that.
So a lot of times we get requests for Gracie to come to birthday parties and stuff like that, like you mentioned, and make these different appearances. But you know, sometimes people forget that Gracie herself is a real little girl, right? So we wanted to make sure that something is available for people who would like to have that experience, that live action experience. So we've put things in place so that we'll have a Gracie's Corner mascot, where, you know, someone's wearing the head and, you know, dancing and singing and having a great time for people. And I think even with that, there's even more opportunities, because we would love to even get to the point where we have live shows, meaning concerts where families can come out. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah,
Icecapades and all that stuff.
yeah.
You know,
You
it's so funny. I mean, and that was Sal. I'm telling you, my granddaughter went to go see Bob the Builder.
yeah.
Bob the Builder. I was like, I can't accompany you on that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that would really, really go over well. The birthday party supplies, the hats,
Yeah.
oh my God, there's so much. It's limitless. You were
Yeah.
good to quit your job.
Yeah.
There would be no space for you to do anything.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I am
Yeah.
just
So
so oh, go ahead.
yeah, it's exciting to see all these different possibilities. Like you said, even your granddaughter going to see Bob the Builder. I know there's like the Blippy on and
Yes. Yes.
Disney on Ice, all these different things that are in place, and the stuff is great. But I just using those things as a model, I think there is a space for Gracie's Corner. I even seen people, I don't know if you remember, like with the whole fiasco with the Sesame Place situation where little kids were at this parade and the characters were basically shunning the little black kids, where they would almost act like the kids weren't there. I don't know if you saw the oh yeah, it was bad, and it really created a lot of turmoil. And the only reason I was very well aware of it was because people were tagging Gracie's Corner saying, "Oh, Gracie would never do that. She would never disregard a little black child just because of the background." So it was kind of cool to see that. I mean, it just opens my eyes to what's out there, and I feel like it's a process to get to that point, but it all started again back with creating, right, and then putting the animations in, but everything else just builds from there.
How much is a penny worth? 1 cent. How much is a nickel worth? 5 cents. How much is a dime worth? 10 cents. How about a quarter? 25 cents. Let's count all the money, count all the money, count all the money, count it up. Count all the money, count all the money, count all the money, count it up. How many pennies make a dollar? 100. How many pennies make a dollar? 100. Count all the money, count all the money, count all the money, count it up.
And then Gracie's friends. Gracie's got a little brother now, little baby brother. So yeah, it just keeps building. Well, I'm so excited for you all, and I'm so glad that I came into the fold from having grandkids and learning my days of the week, relearning my days of the week, and the number songs and all of that. It's just been a joy to watch them watch Gracie's and learn from Gracie's. So I thank you all for that, and much more success is definitely coming your way. Your wife's gonna have to quit her job too.
Yeah, that's
I'm
gonna be
sure.
tough. Yeah, that's gonna be tough to get her off. Like she really enjoys what she does. Like she because she was just to give you a little backstory. So she was at Baylor College of Medicine as a professor there. But she came to me one day and was like, you know what? I really would love to be in an HBCU setting. So I told her, hey, if that's what you want to do, I fully support it. So she actually had left her position at Baylor College of Medicine and then took a assistant professor position at Texas Southern University. And she's been loving it ever since. I mean, there's a lot of work that comes along with that. Plus, she has 2 private practices that she oversees, basically 2 clinics. Like she's crazy.
Well, she's loving her craziness. She's loving it. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, you and Gracie continue to grow Gracie's Corner then, and then your son, I'm sure, will jump in and continue with the family business. So again, people can reach you through the website at graciescornertv.com. And what are some other avenues or platforms they can go to? Go ahead and tell us that.
Yeah, we can also be followed on Instagram at Gracie's_Corner_TV. We're also on Facebook at Gracie's Corner TV, and then we're on TikTok and Twitter. But most importantly, definitely follow us and on on YouTube, and we're available
Yes.
on the regular YouTube as well as the kids app.
Oh, I didn't even know there was another type of YouTube, a kids app.
Yeah, yeah. Which I actually recommend even more because with the regular YouTube, it's very easy for someone to accidentally go some other avenue. As far as like someone can be watching a tutorial or something on one video, and then the next video that pops up can be who knows what. But as far as like the YouTube Kids app, it's all, you know, just purely kids content. And I think it's a little, parents tend to feel a little more at ease with that one versus the regular YouTube.
Okay, that's good to know too. So all of these avenues, we can see Gracie's Corner. Continue to follow, to watch, to share, to recommend, and we look forward to more products as well coming out for birthday parties and stage, and the rest is who knows.
Yeah, I'm excited.
The world is your oyster. So again, thank you, and we appreciate you. We hope to have you back when we do another animation in black or anything like that. But for now, just take care and keep it moving, keep growing. Thank you.
Thank you.